Hello fantasy managers and welcome back for another video. My name's Jack and today we're going over our UCL semi-finals team selection as we get to the business end of the Champions League tournament. If you guys are liking the fantasy videos, as always, leave a like and subscribe. We are going to try and upload more UCL like Champions League fantasy related videos for the remainder of the tournament. So if you guys are looking forward to those, plus of course lots more FPL videos, leave a like and subscribe. Have notification bells turned on. With that being said, let's jump into the video. So first off, I just wanted to touch on how we got on last week. We scored around 54 points last week, so not a great week for us in the previous stage of the tournament. Our overall rank did take around 20k right now. We're sitting around 25k, have since dropped down to 45k, but just still a pretty decent rank. But I'm looking forward to trying to push it as high as it can go by the time the final of the Champions League comes around. So let's have a look at how the squad is shaping up for the semi-finals first leg of the Champions League. Of course, with 4 teams remaining, I am trying to have a fairly even spread amongst the teams, especially considering that both Inter versus AC and Real Madrid versus Man City, I would say, are pretty even matchups right now. Man City, I saw that I've been in very good form in the Premier League, picked up 30 points out of a possible 30 in their most recent games. Real Madrid, obviously an incredibly good side. Inter and AC both doing very well in their domestic, in the Serie A, sorry. So it'd be a very, very good game, especially with that big rivalry. Anything can happen in the derby, so it's hard to call. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these semi-finals played out. But essentially what I'm trying to get at is that I'm trying to have a solid balance of an even, relatively even number of players from all the teams. So once teams do get knocked out, I don't have to use as many transfers to be able to bring in players for the final stage of the tournament, as of course that could be a big issue, is that if I have a massive amount of players from one team that get knocked out, I don't want to take a massive amount of hits just to be able to field 11 players for the final of the tournament. So I think that's also something just worthwhile considering as well once we get to the semi-final stage of the tournament and such few teams are left. Let's have a look at the team note. With that being said, Thibaut Courtois does go in goals. He's the only Real Madrid defender I do have in goals. I've actually got a starting defender from each of the 4 teams left in the tournament. Courtois obviously been very, very good this Champions League. Has picked up a lot of saves, a lot of clean sheets. He's one of the highest scoring goalkeepers. So I like Thibaut Courtois. Obviously, when you get to this stage of the tournament, there's not going to be any easy fixtures. So Manchester City at home is just about as good as it's going to get in terms of fixtures now that you're a semi-finals point of the tournament. So even if he doesn't get a clean sheet, once again, does pick up quite a lot of saves. And with against Man City, I'm sure he will be having quite a bit of work to do. So we'll have to see how that goes with Thibaut Courtois. Looking at the defenders, Diaz is there for Man City. He's obviously just a player to have in for that Man City defense. They've also got a very, very strong defense. Haven't been as good this season in the Premier League in terms of picking up clean sheets, but they do have a very low expected goals conceded relative to the amount of clean sheets in the Prem. So that is something definitely worthwhile noting, and perhaps a little bit unlucky not to have more clean sheets so far this season. And Diaz, for me, one of the more nailed Man City centre-backs. He did also get a rest in Man City's most recent Premier League game, which does hint towards the fact that he's going to be playing in the Champions League, which is always good to see. So I like Diaz there. Once again, if he's not getting clean sheets, he is getting quite a lot of ball recoveries. So that's also a good thing by having those centre-back defenders in, is that they win the ball back a lot for their sides. Diaz definitely one of those players. DeMarco, he's going to be my Inter Milan asset here. Obviously, he's got AC away this week. It's going to be really interesting to see. I can't call this one between Inter and AC. I think it's going to be such a good game. There was news around Raphael, who's a doubt for the first leg of the semi-finals as well, so that could play a big role in favouring Inter in this matchup. We'll have to see how it plays out. Raphael is definitely a big ad for AC if he is out, but right now he is a decent doubt for the game. Unfortunately, we do have him in our team, but I'll discuss him a little bit later on. DeMarco's there to capitalise on a very strong Inter Milan defence. They've been good in the Champions League this season. We've also got Bastoni on the bench as well, as you can see there. We've got Onana in goals as well, so triple Inter Milan defence. Onana was in the team from earlier weeks as well. I did have him in goals. He was profitable in terms of points for us in previous match weeks of the Champions League. So Onana's there, Bastoni's there. I'm hopeful for an Inter Milan clean sheet. Obviously, we do have Raphael up top, but with 3 Inter Milan defenders, if they can get a clean sheet, we'll be swimming amongst the points. That'd be very nice there. And Theo Hernandez there for AC. He's also going to be the AC defender. He is typically fairly attacking, does play in a strong fullback role, does get decently far out the pitch That is one thing he's got going for him. Not a massive amount of goal contributions this Champions League, not quite as many as he would have liked, but he is always getting into those good positions. So that is also something to note. Fernandez, hopefully he can start adding more goals and assists. He's got into this week. The main thing I did want to say is amongst the starting defenders, I didn't really want to double up on any defense because there isn't really any standout fixtures where you're like, I'm going to absolutely jump on this defense because it's got a really good chance of getting a clean sheet. So I think it's more about diversifying the assets, having a good mix of attacking potential amongst defenders with DeMarco, Hernandez, Bastoni, Diaz and more there just for the clean sheets, and Courtois has good save potential as well. Let's move on to the midfield four. It is fairly differential, I would say, compared to some of the other teams. Barella's there, Valverde's there, Vinicius there. He's probably a very template option, and Riyad Mahrez is there for Man City. I'm hoping Mahrez can get more consistent minutes in the Champions League. He has got minutes in each of his last 2 Premier League games, which generally hints towards the fact that he's going to be benched for the Champions League. Saying that though, Phil Foden did play in the most recent Prem game, so maybe Mahrez could get minutes over Phil Foden. I think Jack Grealish will get a run in the Champions League for Man City this week after being rested in their most recent Premier League fixture. So a bit of a concern that Mahrez may not start for Man City, but I'm hopeful that he does. As per 90, Mahrez is a very, very productive player, and he has been decent when he's played in the Champions League so far this season, so I'm hopeful for Mahrez. Barella also has been in really, really good form this season for Inter Milan, both in the league and in the Champions League as well. He's averaging around a goal or assist every 3 games in the league right now, so not bad. He also has those ball recoveries on his side as well, which is always useful, and he can pop up with a goal every now and then. So that's also something to note with Barella. Valverde also in a similar boat has been very good this season for Real Madrid. Once again, can pop up, make good runs into the box, find himself goals and assists. He also has good ball recoveries as well. So Barella and Valverde sort of playing similar roles for their side. Valverde can also push up to the wing in some instances for Real Madrid, which is also very useful for contributing to his goal and assist tally. So Valverde, another player that I'm very happy to have on the side. Now, captain for this week is going to be a Vinicius Jr. for Real Madrid in the midfield. He's coming in at a very premium price tag, but I do think it's worthwhile. Yes, he does have Manchester City, who are typically a very, very strong defense, but this Real Madrid attack is so strong right now. Benzema's been firing recently, as has Vinicius, having another great season and another great Champions League campaign as well. He's been getting so many Champions League fantasy points right now, so I really want to have Vinicius as my captain pick. He is, of course, playing on the first day of games, and between my Man City and Real Madrid assets, yes, there's a couple of good captaincy options there. Benzema's also a good one. Haaland's also a good one, but I'm going to go with Vinicius. Haaland has dropped off slightly in the Premier League, failed to score in his most recent Premier League fixture, hasn't been as massive in the Champions League this season, or in more recent weeks, as I say, as in the past. So I'm hopeful for Vinicius to find the back of the net. He obviously gets the extra point for goals as well, which is also very, very useful. So I'm backing in Vinicius with my captain's armband. I'm hoping that he is the highest scoring player out of any of my Man City and Real Madrid assets. Otherwise, I will be regretting not captaining one of those guys. I don't really see myself changing the captain's armband if Vinicius gets any type of returns. Obviously, if he does blank with just the 2 or 3 points, I will be switching it. But if he walks away with just an assist, maybe with 5 or even 4 points, I don't really see me switching to any of Barella, Leao, DeMarco, Hernandez, Bastoni, or Nana. I don't see that happening. So I think Vinicius is going to be my captain this week. If he produces any attacking returns, it's staying on Vinicius. I'm making that call now. I don't want to get caught up with changing the captaincy and then regretting it because the second captain scores worse than the first captain, so I'm sticking with Vinicius. I'm happy to go Vinicius over Haaland on the captain's armband, especially since Real Madrid do have that home fixture as well. And speaking of Erling Haaland, he does feature in a fairly strong front 3 right now with Haaland, Benzema and Leao. As I touched on, Leao does have that injury doubt for the semi-finals game. I've had read a couple of articles produced in the last 15 or so hours around Leao's injury concerns. He is still a big doubt for the game, so that's going to be a little bit annoying if he does miss out, because I will be forced to bring on Bastoni, or if I see more injury news about Leao missing the game on the second day of Champions League fixtures, I'm going to be forced to bring on Bastoni, which sees me double up on an Inter Milan defense, when ideally I would have Raphael Leao. Of course, if Leao does get ruled out of the game as well, Bastoni will get auto sub back on, so that's also something to note. So I'm hoping best case scenario is that Leao plays, as not ideal. It wouldn't be ideal to have the double Inter Milan defense, as Leao has been in good touch once again for AC this season. The injury could not come at a worse time, unfortunately, just a few days before his Champions League fixture, but I'm hoping that he can play, but he is a doubt for now. I'm probably not going to transfer him out, as I have made all my free transfers available for this week, so I'm not going to burn the transfer. I'm hoping that he should be good to go for the second leg of the semi-finals. I don't think he's going to be out for that long for AC. So that is something that he does have on his side. Even if he doesn't play this week, it's not the worst case scenario having Bastoni come on. I will be obviously then praying for an Inter Milan clean sheet. A 0-0 draw would be ideal, obviously. If we can get the Hernandez clean sheet, DeMarco and Bastoni both getting a clean sheet as well, that would be very, very ideal. But not the worst situation in the world if Raphael Leao doesn't play. Otherwise, Haaland and Benzema still a very, very strong forward line. Benzema has been picking up some really good form recently for Real Madrid. Once again with that home fixture against Manchester City, I think it's a decent chance for Real Madrid to put a few goals on the board. They've been very, very good once again this season in the Champions League, so I'm hoping their very strong attack can continue to pick up goals. And Haaland, of course, he's going to be a very popular option. I think Haaland, Vinicius, those two guys especially, will be extremely popular assets to own for the remainder of the tournament for their sides, at least for the semi-final stages. Obviously, one of them will be getting knocked out, but I think Haaland and Vinicius will be two players that are in everyone's teams this week, and they'll both be very popular captain picks. So I am hoping that Vinicius does outscore Haaland, but of course I like to see some Erling Haaland points as well. Hopefully he can return to his goal scoring form after blanking in his most recent Premier League fixture. Looking at the bench, Florentino and Kim Min-jae both remain there despite being knocked out of the tournament. I didn't want to burn extra transfers and take hits just to have better bench depth. I don't really think it's worth taking hits for. I'm more than happy just to have Bastoni be the one option I have come off the bench, and also have Onana there. If Courtois doesn't get a clean sheet, I will be bringing Onana on. If Courtois does pick up 3 or 4 points, I'd probably hold him, just in the case that if Onana doesn't get a clean sheet, he's probably not going to score 3 or 4 points. He may end up with just a 2 or the 1, compared to Courtois, who's got that good save potential against Manchester City as well. We'll have a fair few shots to deal with, I can imagine. But if he doesn't get a clean sheet, doesn't get any save bonus, Onana will be getting subbed on. Bastoni's always there for Raphael as well if he doesn't play. If he does play, I'll be very, very happy. And of course, if any other players blank for Man City and Real Madrid on the first day of games, Bastoni will be stepping in for one of those lads as well. So that's how the team's shaping up for the semi-finals of the first leg. I'm pretty happy with how the team is looking right now. Obviously, the main concern is that Leao injury, but apart from that, still very happy with the team. Haaland, Vinicius, the two very popular premiums. There's a good mix of differential players in there as well. Hopefully Mahrez can play for Man City. He'll be very good if he can get me some points. Hernandez also a strong differential, as is DeMarco as well. A couple of those other lads scattered throughout the team, also some pretty good picks. So hopefully we can take a decent green arrow and get as far up the ranks as we can by the end of the Champions League. Good luck to everyone for their semi-finals teams. I'm so excited to see how these games play out, as Real Madrid, Man City and the Milan Derby will be two excellent semi-final fixtures. Thanks for watching today's UCL semi-final fantasy team selection. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, drop a like and subscribe. I'm really looking forward to see how these Champions League semi-finals play out, as they are such good fixtures. If you guys are looking forward to it as well, have the notification bells turned on. There's going to be plenty more UCL fantasy team selection videos, plus plenty more FPL videos as well, so stay posted for those. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.